If you like the coding convention where a field does start with an underscore, Visual Studio by default does not help you a lot. You now see some source code where a constructor gets a parameter, and I would love a field to be generated for this parameter name. So if I go now here, I right click and I go to quick actions and refactorings, I can assign a field, but you will see that there is no underscore being generated. And yes, of course, I could go to the field, I could go to rename option. If I simply go to rename and I will say, well, I do want to start it with an underscore, Visual Studio will rename this. But that does look like a lot of work. And like any developer, I am a bit lazy, so I don't like a lot of work. So is there a way that Visual Studio can help me generate the underscore automatically? Well, fortunately there is. If you go to the Tools menu and if you go to Options, and if you then go to the text editor and you go to C#, because that's the language we are trying to change, we go here to coding styles, and if you simply expand it, you will see that there is a specific menu option for naming. And if we go there, you will see that there are actually 3 styles being specified at this time. And I would love my instance field, my private field, to be added to the specification, which does take 2 different steps, because there is, if you simply drop down this list, you will see that there is no required style yet for applying an underscore. So what we're going to do is we're going to manage the naming styles, and I will add a new naming style and will simply start with underscore. And the required prefix will be the underscore, and the suffix I don't have to use, the word separator I don't have to use, and I do want the camel case naming convention to be used as a capitalization scheme. So now you will see that the sample identifier does represent the format of my instance field that I would love to have. So if I now simply press OK, and here OK as well, I still have to apply that naming style to a certain specification. So what I do is simply press this plus sign, and I can select the kind of specification, language construct I would like to change, and for this specific field it will be the private or internal field. And the required style that I want to use, of course, is my start with underscore, and the severity I will leave to suggestion. Okay, once I press now OK and clean out the code that Visual Studio generated for me the first time, and if I now go back to navigation service and I go to my quick actions and refactorings, you will see that the preview already lists the underscore, and if I click the preview, you will see that my field does get generated with an underscore, which is quite nice because now I can actually use the refactorings within Visual Studio to generate a field with an underscore without me having to change and rename the generated fields afterwards. Well, if you're like me and you like your underscore in your fields, I hope this video helps, and happy coding!